All right, Scott Redler T3 Live. Here I am again at the mountaintop. Not really a mountaintop. It's it's kind of high up there, but I wouldn't quite say that high. I know a lot of guys who've been watching this video that I've been doing for the past 6-7 years, coming up here at different times, said, "Red Dog, let me take a look at that mountaintop. You're always standing still. Let's take a little look." Okay. First of all, I'll let you guys take a look. This is the view. It's really nice. There's a lake. There are canoes. I guess there's a little camping area over there. That used to be a big fort, and it looks really nice. This is a good place to come over the summer. I feel like I've been running up here and no one's ever here. And when I do run up here, I run because I like to think, I like to figure out what's going on in my head. And interesting thing is, in the springtime, when things are different, or I always get a little worried about bears, right? They're coming out of hibernation, they're hungry. This looks a little bit like bear tracks. I think I was watching on the news coming up here with my 10-year anniversary. There was a program about how there were bears in Vernon, and I think the claws that we're seeing in Vernon here, we're also seeing in the market a little bit, and something we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen some of the technical damage like we've seen in some of the high growth groups, whether it's high beta tech, whether it's social, whether it's the bios, whether it's a lot of the names that were in macro and intermediate uptrends for a while that were above their 8 and 21 day moving averages are now below, giving us some signals that we better freaking change a little bit the way we trade, right? Can't just be buying the dips, playing breakouts. That whole H cell setup that we've talked about, starting to work a lot more on short-term basis, on now intermediate bases, where like we just had that oversold bounce, right? 2 weeks ago, we came into 1815 on the S&P. The Qs did that red dog reversal outside move where, you had a spot to cover some shorts, maybe get long. And then this week we came in and you had some more earnings. We had a big bounce back on light volume, which again, you have to sometimes trust and not trust. But if you shorted early, you could lose money short on light volume the same way you can make money if you're in tactically long and then you sell before bigger resistance, before there's some signs. We saw Facebook and Apple come up on earnings, and Facebook was sold that day. Social media was sold that day. Netflix gapped up on earnings. Okay, next day took out 364, really negative. Then you saw Facebook obviously open up and close weak, so all of social was beat up on that. The bios had a bounce, but it's having trouble with the 200-day. The financials not doing as well as they were doing, not leading. So all reasons and all clues to take a step back, change your style. We haven't been in portfolio approach for probably multiple months. Last week or a few weeks I've tried to hold 3-4 things with the hedge, and some of them have worked, some of them haven't. You have to be quick and take those stops and use those stops, and that's what you do in the market. You adjust in life, you adjust in the markets, you adjust seasonally. I sent out an image before of me racing for the Ironman, which this year I'm not doing, but I'm doing something different, some Tough Mudders, some Spartan races, some things that are good for my head to give me clarity. So I like to think and I like to be active. And for you, I don't think you need to do a triathlon, but I just say try anything. Same way in the market, you got to try new things. You have to make adjustments. This is a long span of time that hopefully you're making a career out of it, or just even learning how to invest on your time frame, and you have to figure out what that is. And there's just always movements and decisions and choices to be made, and hopefully you have a nice spot that you could hang out, run up to, be in your solemn place so you can figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, make adjustments, work on it, because we're only coming into May. There's a lot of year left, and hopefully you've made adjustments as lots of sectors and stocks broke their 8 and 21 day, have stayed below. We've had these oversold bounces that you could play with the RDR tactic. You've had the sell setups, and I think also if you're a macro investor, I think you can continue to stay the course, even if the correction is deeper and that head and shoulders top pattern that we saw the first one on a micro level a month ago is now getting bigger. We'll see if that triggers or not. It could always hold that neckline, and you just have to do what's comfortable for you. And in order to get where you want to go, you got to keep working on it, making adjustments, and hopefully here at T3 Live will help you stay that course. Have a great weekend. See you Monday morning in the studio, and enjoy, because life's way too short.